Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by our Patreon supporters and CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day, and our co-sponsor CardHoarder.com, offering the best inventory, prices, and delivery of cards for Magic Online. I'm Evan Irwin, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, Aaron Campbell.
Hey, welcome back, everybody.
Ruben Bressler.
Hi, I actually showed up for this one.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Appreciate
that. That's great. This week, upgraded hardware. We are wired. We are good. I haven't seen a single hiccup the entire pre-show. Knock on me. Seriously, don't mess up. We're good. Ruben?
I'm wired every show. I don't know what you're talking about.
Wow. It's a hell
Coffee. All right.
Hell of a drug. All right. So we also get started with our Trumpet Blasts. You can get one if you support us at our highest level on Patreon. Don't have one this week, but you can go to Patreon and support us there, and we'll give out your message as you see fit. And with that, we kick it off with the first pick and the giveaway. The giveaway is a $50 gift given to CoolStuffInc.com, ! raffle in the Twitch chat to enter 2 entries for the subs. Thank you guys very much for being a subscriber. We appreciate it.
Thank you. And we're gonna juice this up a little bit because y'all know last week was grisly. Let's be honest. Let's get that out there. But I got so many messages from people who sat through it and powered through it and enjoyed the show. And for those of you who listened to the pre-show, you can sort of see the behind the scenes of once we stopped recording, we were all like really bummed. So I just wanted to do something just to show my appreciation to you all. So I'm gonna add an extra prize to the raffle tonight. For those who don't know, I was at Eternal Weekend last weekend. I had an amazing time. I picked up 3 really awesome playmats that I have no use for. And so the second raffle winner, we're actually gonna pick 2 winners tonight, you will get your choice of one of my 3 awesome playmats. So I have Blood Moon.
Very nice. Very nice.
I also have Chaos Orb, which is...
I love that one.
Which is me when I have acid reflux. And then lastly, I have this original counterspell playmat. So whoever wins that second raffle, you will get your pick of one of my 3 mats. I'll sign it for you if you want. I will even throw it in one of my Card Titan mesh bags. I got a little mesh bag throughout the weekend. And so that's going to be an extra prize as my way of saying thank you so much for powering through. We didn't lose any Patreons. We didn't lose any subscribers. You all were just amazing, and I wanted to say thank you.
So the first giveaway is going to be the $50 gift certificate. That's going to end in an hour.
Yes, the next
You're
giveaway.
going to have like a speed run giveaway.
We're going to have a 10-minute. Everybody get in there. Everybody be a part of it, and you're going to see who gets one of the super cool playmats. That's going to be at the end of the show.
That's dope.
Very exciting. But
Aaron,
okay.
If I enter that giveaway and win, will you send me a playmat?
I will consider it. Do you want me to sign it? Because that's
Of course.
okay. Just saying.
That's right.
So.
Well, look, Wizards kind of blew the minds of literally everyone this week.
Oh, yeah.
Literally out of nowhere, we went from no set releases in December to an Ultimate Master set coming in December. The rumblings started over on Friday, where at first Wizards said something like, stay tuned for some crazy stuff coming up on Monday or the weekend or whatever. And then like a couple hours later, they're like, oh, okay, well, some things are arriving in the mail, so you guys be sure to take care and check out your mailboxes. And next thing you know, I think it was Platinum Empyrean was the first box topper extended art rare to show up. There's a lot to get through here. Ultimately, we now have box toppers. The box toppers are in a single pack, which unfortunately it was revealed that if you look hard enough and try hard enough, you can actually see through. So don't buy any loose ones. But if you get them, you buy a booster box, you get it in the booster box. It just lays right on top of the packs. It's right there. It's only 1 card. And these things have been sent out to all the people who I believe either bought or tried to buy the Mythic Edition.
Yeah, it was my understanding it was the people who had tried to buy the Mythic Edition and had difficulties. And this was sort of Wizards' way of kind of making it up to them. And I think this is really, really great. I think that they were able to, kind of do damage control or kind of do cleanup from the last disaster, which was, the way that the Mythics were handled. But it was also a great and fresh way to kind of spoil the set as opposed to what we're used to, and I mean no shade by this, but this was just everyday people that were getting these random envelopes. It felt a lot like, Willy Wonka of what is this thing? What have I opened? All of these tweets kind of going viral, these Reddit posts. It was a really great way to, make up for the last debacle and usher in a great new thing.
Right. Essentially, well, of course, at the beginning, no one knew what these cards were even for. Were they just a weird promotion? Did they just show up in some other way? Is it a new product they're coming out with? And these were all very big, very hype, very expensive cards that were showing up. Finally, reprints of stuff like Noble Hierarch was coming.
Through the Breach.
Snapcaster. I mean, you know, like the biggies, literally. I mean, you could take Modern, sort by USD price, and that's basically what's in the set.
Karn, Goryo's Vengeance,
Even the least expensive things that were included in these box toppers, things like Kitchen Finks or Balefire Dragon,
Stirring Wildwood.
What?
Stirring Wildwood.
Yes, I mean, even stuff like that has some amount of clout and sees some amount of play in at least either Modern or Commander or something along those lines. Right. And so, you know, even the least prestigious of those promos is pretty great.
Yeah, Reanimate and Legacy. Mana Vault, I believe, got another reprint. Ancient Tomb, which is something for the Eldrazi decks in the Legacy. Yeah.
This is Mana Vault's first time in an actual, not like an actual foil, not a masterpiece foil. Now, of course, there's the box topper version, but like, you know, the regular set version and the regular set foil, like that is the first foil ever of Mana Vault. So that Mana Vault masterpiece, box topper, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be worth infinite, and the actual foil from the set is also going to be worth infinite because they've just never made one of those before, and it's awesome. Let's go ahead.
Demonic Tutor, though, which is just, it's so sweet of just the guy in the boat with like the, oh my God, that's so good.
I'm
really cool.
Interested because every once in a while we'll see these, and I know for a fact that there are people who have cubes where they want the most rare, most ridiculous, most off the wall, craziest, most expensive, pimped out version. And now they have to collect all these, which is kind of hilarious.
Hey, man.
Yeah, I think this is good just for the reprint value alone. You know, these were cards that were ridiculous. Why is Goryo's Vengeance a $50 card? You know, it's in like 2 decks maybe. And so these are cards that were badly needed in these metagames and specifically Modern. And so I'm hoping that it does mean that there's more to go around, which means the price goes down. Also for Commander, you know, I'm somebody who doesn't like to spend a lot of money on Commander, but hopefully this will cause you know, the reprints to make the price go down and more people can get them.
Let's go over some of the brass tacks because this was a lot. There was a lot of information here. First of all, this set comes out December 7th. That is correct. 1 month from today, there will be a brand new Magic the Gathering set in your local game store.
Pretty great.
We're going to have previews on Monday and Tuesday of November 19th and 20th. That is the week of Thanksgiving in the U.S. If you're in the U.S., the full set reveal will come on Wednesday, November 21st. Therefore, we will have to switch up how we show our preview card. We've got some ideas about that.
Yeah.
We'll see if they work out. I think it honestly depends on what we get, which we don't know yet.
Yeah.
But when we get it, we'll see what we can do. We'll figure out a way to get that preview out to you guys. It's the last Masters product for the foreseeable future. Now, I'm not sure what that means. I think clearly you can see that they threw everything but the kitchen sink in this set so far.
I mean, they had to. I mean, like Masters 25 wasn't great. I think the last was it Iconic Masters had kind of landed with a thud.
Oh yeah.
And so I think they were at least two. The last 2 were not great, and so I think they needed to do something. And they seem to be pulling on all of the stops.
Oh yeah. I mean, like this was, you know, fool me once, shame on me type thing happened with Iconic, and then again with Masters 25. This product is exactly what Masters 25 should have been. Yeah. This was supposed to be the big, you know, celebration of Magic, super expensive. Whoa.
I have a fire alarm.
Wow.
Seriously. All right, so Erin's going to go mute for a minute. She's going to figure out what's on fire, and she'll be back as I continue through the list here.
It's happened before.
Yeah, sorry for our podcast listeners. We did not see that one coming. Anyway, so, and we'll talk more about that here in a minute. The boxes are only going to be available at your local game store. That's the only way you can get Modern Masters. Ultimate Masters is in box form, aka you can only get box toppers at your friend local game store. That's the big sort of push there. That's the giveaway for Wizards to stores, is to say, look, we're going to have a blister pack, which is basically the hard plastic shell with 3 packs of Ultimate Masters in it. That's going to be at Target. That's going to be at Walmart. You can get that for $34.99, and that's cool because essentially, when you do the math and you say, if I bought blister packs equal to 24 and I subtracted the cost of the MSRP, the box topper is like $56, something like that. And so that's what you're paying for essentially for that, that lottery ticket, as it were.
Sure.
So that's That's okay. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you're going to get Lava Claw Reaches, and sometimes you're going to get Liliana of the Veil.
Yeah. All box toppers are in the set in regular non-masterpiece versions or box topper versions. Each box will come with one of the possible 40. There's 254 cards in the set. It is $13.99 MSRP. That means the MSRP for the box is $335.76. That is...
Yeah, and that was a lot of the consternation from folks this week was, sort of like, we want reprints, but we want them affordable. And this is certainly not affordable in the terms that they were thinking. But there was a really good thread from Corbin Hostler about this, about how to reprint cards without having them become another Chronicles expansion.
Right.
I don't have the link up right now, but essentially... it needed to be done this way. This is the way that this gets done. And so far, if that's the complaint that people have, I think that this is a pretty great, first of all, I love that they just sort of dropped it. And we're just like, here's a pack. You have no idea what's in it, right? I think that's super awesome. That, every once in a while do a spoiler season where you totally surprise us and you don't give it to, entrenched spoiler folks like Magic Mike's or the Channel Fireballs or whatever, and people just get them in their house, and random dude who doesn't make content is like, hey, check out this full art Fulminator Mage or whatever.
Right.
I think that's really cool. So the viral marketing behind it, I think, is pretty neat. In addition to the fact that they did come out and say this is the last one for a while, which I think is a good way to bat cleanup and get hype behind the set. It just seems like they did a good job with this so far.
Well, you're right, and that's been the big push and the issue. And again, but the fact that we don't even know what's in it, we don't know the rest of the rares, we don't know even the commons or uncommons, we don't know if they've downshifted anything for Pauper, we don't know if they reprinted something like Oubliette, which doesn't need to be $50 to $70 or whatever it is, just so you can get your copy in paper for Pauper.
I wish Oubliette had been one of the full art foils.
I agree, because Oubliette in foil is an amazing thing, and I'm really excited about it. But this is one of those where Wizards has a certain amount of equity. They can't ever publicly acknowledge it. That's why they'll never, ever talk about MTG finance or whatever, or sales or secondary markets.
Right.
But, internally, I think it's really clear they see the writing on the wall and how much things cost and how much things are being played. And so they build these sets in order to create that value. And I think the issue with Modern Masters 1 hit and the value was nuts. The value was completely insane for $7 a pack. It was $6.99 a pack.
Yeah.
Almost immediately went to $10 to $12 a pack, and then further up from there for the rest of its time that it was sort of in print, quote unquote, and for sale, because it was nuts. And Wizards basically went arguably too far for the amount of money they were charging for it. So they pulled back, increased the MSRP, and now you have a more expensive set that's giving you less. But it was still good. And then you had another one, and it was fine. And then you had Modern Masters 2017, which was amazing. And then you had, Vintage Masters, and that was okay. It's fine. And then we kind of got around to the Iconic, and that was awful. And then the Masters 25, and that was awful. And now here, they're basically paying for all the sins of their old stuff. Fine. You wanted everything? Well, here's everything. It's more expensive, but we literally reprinted almost everything. Basically, everything that isn't a fetch land that's worth money in Modern, I'm basically expecting to be in this set.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, I would be surprised if we didn't see Mishra's Bauble, for example, or what are some other super expensive cards that they haven't reprinted recently? I mean, we saw Through the Breach, and we saw Goryo's Vengeance, and we saw a couple of and Noble Hierarch, and a couple of the other cards where we were like, when are they going to reprint these cards? Oh, they're all in this set. That's the effect that we have here. Right. The one surprise for me was no Sneak Attack, but they did do a Judge promo of that one recently, so I guess it's fine.
Right, and note that not all the cards we're talking about are just...
Mox Opal, that's another good one.
Sure, and not all the cards are necessarily in Modern, because this is, Ultimate Masters, quote-unquote. They can reprint whatever they want. So this does help reach all the way back into the older formats. They can put Path to Exile in here just as easily as they can put Swords to Plowshares in here.
Right.
It doesn't...
Yeah, let's get that, we can get, more Palace Jailers, and we can get more Caracases, and we can get more, what are some other weird esoteric legacy cards?
I mean, the Palace Jailers, there aren't any foils of that, are there? Because it was Commander? Is that correct?
No,
Or that was conspiracy. That's why.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But still, I mean, there aren't a ton of them out there.
Right. So just like all the other master sets, it's 15 cards a pack with one foil in each pack. 24 packs a box. It's going to be on Magic Online as a non-redeemable set, of course, for $7 a pack.
Wow. Non-redeemable for $7 a pack?
Non-redeemable for $7 a pack. And I'm just like, and yeah, so that's kind of awkward. I believe some of the set is going to be in the treasure chests, but I need to get confirmation on that one. Note that the Ultimate Masters is going to be in English and Japanese, but the box toppers are only going to be in English. So English only for those. Really interesting to see the sort of the finance world react to this. I think that what we are seeing and we continue to see is that we don't know where the upper ceiling is for a Magic product is. We honestly, we don't know what. Can we make a $500 set? Can we make
probably
a $800 set? You know what I mean? Like, where is your ceiling? I don't think we found it. And as much gnashing teeth as we got here, this thing is selling. It's already selling for either full MSRP or a little bit below. You got people out there blowing out their numbers for no good reason. They have whatever allocations they have, they're just blowing through. Like, this isn't a terrific set. Again, this was the Masters 25. This is what it should have been. They're paying for cents, and it's great. That said, it also impacted Grand Prix. There are 2 Grand Prix that are now going to be Ultimate Masters sealed. That would be GP Vancouver on December 28th through 30th and GP Prague on January 11th through 13th. And those also now have the wonderful entry fee of $115 US. It's it's 140 Canadian or something, but whatever. It ultimately it's like 115.
The interesting thing for me for the GPs is that they didn't bump up the prize pool for any of those GPs.
Nope, not a bit.
So you have to essentially make top 8 to break even, or no, you have to make top 8 to be able to buy a box of the set.
Wow.
Not I don't know if that's exactly correct, but it's because they didn't bump up the prize pool, but the set itself is made of solid gold, then it's a lot. Quite honestly though, I would rather pay $115 for this platinum level GP than I would pay $80 for a regular, $60 for a standard GP or whatever.
More like 70. Or 75, and it's just like, oh, awful. So those, and I'm not sure if both the Grand Prix are going to have Tarmogoyf as the playmat, but I know they gave sort of a little snippet, a little shot of the playmat for Vancouver, and it was 100% the new Tarmogoyf. Ultimately, Ultimate Masters is one of the best kept secrets Wizards has ever had.
Agreed.
This was very close to the chest. And just got busted out all at once, which was great. Even until the Monday morning when they spoiled all of the cards, we didn't know all of them. We hadn't seen Kozilek. We hadn't seen Karn. When Karn showed up, I was like, oh my God, I was at my desk. I was like, this is insane. Karn is in the set. It's a $75 card, man. This is incredibly awesome. Emrakul showed up. Emrakul hadn't been spoiled yet, as I recall, which was big.
The Through the Breach art, the new Through the Breach art is my favorite of all of the new reprints, because it actually just is Nahiri bringing Emrakul. I thought that was great.
Right, and Noble Hierarch hadn't been spoiled either at that point. These are sort of going through there, and I recall was like, wow, they don't have this, they don't have that. It was nice to know that they hadn't bumped the rarity, for example, for Kitchen Finks or for Eternal Witness. I was actually guessing they made them rare, to be honest.
That's pretty. Yeah, I thought that was pretty insane that they kept those 2 cards at uncommon, and I think they kept Ancient Tomb at rare as well instead of bumping it to mythic, which is also kind of unreal.
Yeah, which is fantastic, and it's great because you have the sort of the set version normally has flavor text, whereas the super cool box topper version has centered text for a lot of them. No flavor text, really nice, really clean. It's kind of awkward in many ways that the Zendikar land cycle just, first of all, it's not as exciting as it used to be.
Sure.
They are very powerful cards. Let's make no mistake. If they put those things in standard, we'd be playing the living crap out of them.
Of course.
But they're not. And as a result, you have one that's amazing. This would be Celestial Colonnade.
Yeah.
And you have the rest that are... Creeping Tar Pit sees one of every once in a while, right?
Right. Creeping Tar Pit sees play every once in a while. I mean, Raging Ravine sees a good amount of play. But yeah, Lava Claw Reaches and Stirring Wildwood are kind of weep wop.
Yeah, and that's sad. And then the other sort of extreme would be was it Balefire Dragon?
Dragon is still like a $15 card though.
Yeah, which again we're talking like if that's your whammy, you know. Well, your whammies are really the Lava Claw Reaches and whatever because those are worth a couple bucks.
Balefire Dragon's not a whammy. I mean, obviously I was surprised that it wasn't Sneak Attack. It does look a little bit weird when you put it next to Snapcaster Mage and Tarmogoyf, but you know it's still a card that sees a ton of play. People love their dragons, and sees a ton of play in Commander. So.
And beyond multicolor, it was really interesting that there were no mono white box toppers. There's no mono white.
White's terrible.
Wow.
It's the least played card in Commander.
Mm-hmm. Color, you mean?
Or least played color in Commander, and it's one of the less popular colors in every format. So.
Just can't show some love to like an Elspeth or something.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen, you know, Elspeth would have been nice. Again, something like a Sarah Avenger would be okay. Mother of Runes, maybe as the uncommon reprint would have been neat. Thalia, one of the Thalias would have been cool.
Yeah, because Mother of Runes is on the
Champion of the Parish. Let's do Champion of the Parish.
There you go. Well, unfortunately, they didn't get to choose a mono white card, but what they did choose was just fantastic. Ulamog's in there, as well as Kozilek, as well as Emrakul. That's great. The new Demonic Tutor looks absolutely amazing, which is cool. Gaddock Teague finally sees a reprint.
Yeah, that was a big reprint. I like that one a lot.
First reprint, as I understand it, which is big. They also, Hipsters of the Coast, fan of the show, friend of the show, if you will.
Fan of the show, maybe.
Maybe.
Friend of the show, definitely.
Friend of the show, for sure. Buddy Richstein talked to Blake Rasmussen. He had an interview with Blake on Hipsters of the Coast about Ultimate Masters and, you know, asking some questions about it and sort of how it happened. Like, for example, why in the world did you, you know, spoil it in the way that you did? And they said, well, they happened to have come out of a meeting about Ultimate Masters and walked straight into a hallway conversation about doing something for the people who had issues with Mythic Edition. So, in discussing what they could do for them. They had a plan for previewing UMA box toppers in a fun way, but when this opportunity arose, the conversations kind of converged.
Yeah.
We thought, what if the way people first learned about these cards was receiving them in the mail? They never did anything quite like it. I thought it was brilliant, and it came off really, really well. So,
funny thing happened on the way to the marketing meeting.
There you go. So kudos to that. It was really interesting. They were noting that, you know, the original plan was to do something, you know, sort of straightforward with the usual outlets and whatnot. Timing of packs, they said, was a bit of lucky timing and a bit of hard work because it took people on like 2 different continents or whatever to come together to make all that stuff work and whatnot, which is great. They also addressed the idea that the 2 Grand Prix events are changing. And why are they changing and what was involved in that? And they say it's never done lightly. It's one of the reasons they're moving to a very flexible format schedule in 2019 for Pro Tours, and while Channel Fireball events chose to do the same for the Grand Prix. So not knowing the format, you know, for a very long time, yes, it will impact people's decisions, but at the end of the day, if they were able to change certain limited formats right now to standard format Grand Prix, I think that would be a bonus. That would be a benefit. More people would actually show up. Whereas before, when standard was awful, it was like, man, I wish I could change this standard to modern or change this standard to limited or something because, you know, because the format's bad. Well, now they have some flexibility, some leeway to do that, which is nice. So again, they're going to still have a spoiler season. It's going to run through in a couple days. It's probably not going to be as exciting as the box topper hits, but it's still going to have some goodies, which is neat. So they also have a preview event. If you have a ticket to PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia, PAX Unplugged is a week before the set is released. So it'll be, I think, the last weekend of November.
Yep, November 30th to December 2nd is PAX Unplugged.
That's correct. So, if you are in Philadelphia and you're at PAX Unplugged and you got yourself a badge, you can also go over and play in events that are ran by Pastimes on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, where they're going to have Two-Headed Giant, and they're going to have Sealed, and they're going to have Draft, and that's going to be awesome. And they're only going to run it, like, you know, there's only 3 flights a day and 2 on Sunday. So, if you want to get on it, you better get in on it. All right. So, is Erin okay?
I was trying to text her, but I can't. I can't get her. I can't get my phone to send.
Okay.
Have you texted?
No, I haven't. So.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I'll try again.
I've been talking.
Fair. Harsh but fair.
Sorry. Either way, so that's sort of where we're at with Ultimate Masters. Ultimate Masters is great, and I think they did a good job with revealing the set. I think it's very exciting. People are pumped. It is selling. Don't let anyone tell you it's not. It totally is. And we have yet to find the ceiling on a Magic product. I still think we're not high enough. I really do. I think you just keep going and you go, what's a $500 product look like? What's an $800 product look like? At what point do they literally go, no moss? Like, that's enough. We're done. Because they're pushing the envelope and they're doing a good job at it.
Yeah.
However, it was found via a Reddit thread that the do not buy loose Ultimate box toppers because they are searchable. Someone found that if you go into a very dark room with a very bright light, and if you hold your head right, and if you move it just the right way, you'll be able to see a little something there that can tell you what it is. They had a video where the pack was clearly sealed, and they said, look, I can't really show you because it's got to kind of catch the light in a certain way, but I'm pretty sure this is a temporal manipulation. And he was like, if it's not a temporal manipulation, I don't upload the video. And clearly they uploaded the video because there was a temporal manipulation in there. So at that point, don't buy loose Ultimate box toppers. They literally say not for resale on them, but you know they were going to anyway, and they've already sold some on eBay. People have already pre-ordered loose box toppers, and you better be very skeptical. And if you pull a Lava Claw Reaches out of one that you bought, that wasn't in a box, just saying, buyer beware. Ruby, you want to tell us a little bit about Cube April's doing?
So among the people who got these early box toppers, a lot of folks did, and one of them was our friend of the show and friend of Magic the Gathering, April King, who received an Ultimate box topper, and she has decided that she's going to auction hers off to charity, and so she has a one of the box toppers that she's auctioning off to give to and the proceeds are going to go to Child's Play, the Child's Play charity, which is the official charity of PAX and PAX Unplugged and PAX East and all of those other places. PAX Australia, which was PAX way down south, just happened a couple weeks ago. It's a charity that helps improve the lives of children in children's hospitals. And so she's decided that she's going to do that, which is kind of awesome.
Yeah, which is absolutely terrific. It's currently up to $305.01, which is great. So no matter what, the kids win. Somebody hopefully gets something really cool out of it, which is great. And April, of course, shows us how it's done in terms of giving back.
Yep. Now, from what I understand, the original plan was she wanted to have it be available for the Desert Bus charity that they run the Desert Bus fundraiser that they do every year. But she just got it in the mail, so timing didn't exactly work out, but definitely something excellent for the Christmas spirit. So good job, Cube April.
Wow, that was great. And yeah, as even I found out, like in order to give something to Desert Bus, or honestly, or any organization that's going to run a large giveaway or fundraiser or whatever, you got to make sure you contact them very early and that you try to get in on that as soon as possible. Because that's an operation.
Missed the bus, but still available to be given away. Just on generic eBay, as Jerry Thompson would like to have intended.
Very nice. Well, we're gonna move on here to let's see here. Someone said, Magic Mike's, what about the transparency packet issue? Do you think people might be wary of that? Not saying she would, but just in general. No.
For April?
Not for April.
Not for April. April gave her what was the thing that caused all this consternation? The Masters edition of Ravnica.
The Guilds of Ravnica. The Mythic edition of Guilds of Ravnica.
Mythic edition. She got a Mythic edition and then just gave it to Prof to cover for Tolarian Community College.
So he could open
stuff. She knew what was in those packs and still gave them away. So this is not an issue with April.
Right. I mean, I think she gave it to him at cost, but again, at cost.
Okay.
There was no reason that she had to do that, but she did that, because she could. But April at this point is beyond reproach in terms of stuff like that. So like, I would never think of that in any way. Yeah. That said, we're going to move here to Gather the Townsfolk. Did you know there's a pro tour tomorrow?
Quick update, by the way.
Okay.
Erin says she's still outside.
Oh boy. Well, that sucks. Yeah, so she's still outside. The alarm was going off. I hope we don't see flames in the background or anything anytime soon.
Yeah, boy, that would be great. Just panic mask it.
Right, and then all of a sudden it just like turns to like, just blackness, just done.
Yeah.
No.
We'd probably go viral. We'd probably be clipped pretty quickly.
Well, there you go. Well, either way, tomorrow is going to be the Player of the Year playoff, which involves a bunch of single match games, which is still weird. But
they're doing the Hearthstone format. That Hearthstone format is what they're doing.
But why?
Because it's sweet. Because it's a unique format. It's an interesting way to go about doing it, and because it's a playoff, they'd never have to repeat the style ever again. So why not do something interesting? The last time they did a Player of the Year playoff, it was Guillaume versus Brad Nelson, and they also did a little bit, of weirdness. It wasn't entirely, strictly by the book, but when you have a mono-a-mono situation, you get to do weird stuff like this.
Yeah, so Luis Salvato and Seth Manfield will be playing it out in a really weird format that I don't even want to try and explain again.
Dude, it's not that hard.
It's not that good either. It's just...
All right. Well, okay, old man.
Okay, it's fine. Okay, fine. They're
not
going
that
to
good either.
Well,
Unbelievable.
They're going to submit 4 lists, okay?
Way to hype up the Player of the Year.
4 lists. Hey, I feel like Wizards continues to do this weird, like, non-marketing.
I thought you were the enthusiasm enthusiast.
I am. I want to be enthused.
What is this cranky old Irwin?
Because none of this makes a lot of sense. The only reason you play a one-game match is when you're in arena, and they're not playing arena. They're playing in paper.
They should be playing arena.
They should absolutely be playing arena. This is 1,000% arena's playground, and yet they don't. I don't get it. That said, they're going to build 4. They're going to build 4 decks. Submit 4 decks. And each player cannot overlap by more than 8 non-land cards. Then there's going to be a best of 7 playoff using a modified, standard constructed 1-game match format. Again, that's on arena. For each 1-game match, they'll select one of their 4 decks to battle. Once decks are chosen, the selections are revealed to both players, and players will have access to each other's deck lists. Players will be able to take 1 free mulligan, as in they can draw 7 more cards with their first mulligan of each game. Whenever a player wins a match with one of their standard decks, they can't use it for the remainder of the playoff. And in order to win the playoff, a player must win 1 game with each of the 4 decks they submitted. So I guess they kind of keep going if they keep winning, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to be able to win, but only the 4.
Win a game with each of your 4 decks.
Well, there you go. So that's happening tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific time. That's 3 p.m. Eastern. So we're going to see the Player of the Year playoff again. As we mentioned when we kind of announced this, they're in a weird situation. They're in an awkward situation of you don't really want to do it during the Pro Tour because it's going to be kind of a giant distraction. Right. You don't necessarily want to do it on the Sunday of the Pro Tour because it's going to take away from the winner.
Right.
And you don't necessarily want to do it before the Pro Tour because it's going to spoil lists, which still sucks. But
yeah.
this is
the lesser of the 3. I mean, I would rather have them spoil lists. Again, nobody breaks the format anymore. So, this is not as bad. I mean, I wouldn't have minded this being on Sunday. It does become an awkward situation if either of these 2 players make top 8. But then again, it's already an awkward situation for these 2 players who are testing for the Pro Tour and then have to show up a day early to do this weird thing. So, you take the good and you take the bad. I think that this is the best way they could have handled it.
It's the best out of a bad situation. But again, this totally should have been arena. Like, this should have just been arena.
I would have really liked for this to have been arena. However, they probably aren't spec'd for that at the Pro Tour, right? You bring in all of the arena setup that they had at TwitchCon specifically for this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it'd be cool. It just is a whole nother thing that can go wrong.
Oh, I mean, it's a thing, but like, also think of it, and this was something I tweeted right before the show, which is, why in the world are they not promoting the Pro Tour in Magic Arena? Yeah. Why isn't it when you bring up arena, it goes, like, watch the world's best, blah, 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 blah. This weekend it's so-and-so. And then there's
definitely
like, click to dismiss. But at least you told everyone what's going on. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Why is the Pro Tour, particularly the paper Pro Tour, being treated like such a redheaded stepchild when you have, see, this is the part where Aaron will be going like, hey.
Yeah, hey now.
But, the idea that, like, it's like this weird lesser event and how Hasbro said they're going to be announcing something big in esports or whatever. Like, you watch what happens when they announce a big esports MTG Arena event. Well, they won't shut up about it. It's going to be nonstop, the MTG Arena esports event until the MTG Arena esports event. I just have that hankering.
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting to see what happens to the Pro Tour once Arena starts holding, large DreamHack style events, like Hearthstone has. Once Arena is holding events that have prize pools the size of Pro Tours, what happens to the Pro Tour?
Exactly.
We've seen what happens to Magic the Gathering in other avenues of its existence when the tech gurus take over the whole thing. Most of which is good. Most of which has been great. Arena's awesome. Yeah. The things that have been changing for Magic have been spectacular. The things that have been changing for Dungeons and Dragons have been great. Wizards of the Coast is under excellent leadership. However, there are things that you got to prune the bushes to make sure they grow, and so that appears to be happening to Magic Online. It definitely happened to Magic Duels, which, lest we forget, Duels of the Planeswalkers was a very popular thing, a very popular game played by lots of people. I think that our audience is less invested in Duels and always was because we're so inside baseball.
Right.
Like whenever anybody says, "Oh, what kind of Magic the Gathering show do you host?" I say, "Oh, it's Magic Mike's. We sort of do the news." And they're like, "Oh, I'll check that out." I'm like, I don't know. Like, I really appreciate you wanting to support what we do, but like, it's going to be super boring if you're not like super invested in Magic culture, because we talk about stuff like the Wizards Play Network, right? And box toppers getting sent to people who had problems with the Hasbro store, and really deep issues in the Magic community that are fascinating if you're invested, but sort of not so much if you're not. And so it'll be really interesting for me to see how that dichotomy keeps shifting and changing, particularly pertaining to the Pro Tour.
Yeah, again, I think for me, the next shoe to drop is what they're going to do, esports wise, quote unquote, esports, because you can just tell. Just go watch Magic on Twitch. Go see who's popular. Go see what's winning. Is Arena winning or is Magic Online winning? Because if they don't have, it's Arena and it's not close. If they don't have a giant audience already built up, the the Dummies of the world, the Caleb Durwards of the world, the Jeff Hoaglands, the Jim Davises, if you don't have a very loyal following that is fine watching the old antiquated program, that's great. But like, there's this sweet, what looks like a super sweet new cube that's out on Magic Online.
Yeah.
I have no interest in playing Magic Online. I have an interest of playing that cube. I have no interest of playing Magic Online. I just don't. I went back once and I was like, oh, what is this? This is not right.
Look, here's the other thing, man. Hearthstone's kind of floundering in the water, quite honestly. They're not as popular as they were. They aren't the new kid. They aren't the new shiny toy on the block anymore. A lot of the Hearthstone pros are coming over to Magic Arena, and they've got, thousands of concurrent viewers. It was started out as a joke that Arena was going for that Hearthstone money. Funny joke's not funny when funny joke's not a joke anymore.
Yeah, I mean, first they laugh at you, right?
That's right.
Yep. Then they ignored them, and then they fought them, and here we are. So, moving on, there was a interesting token that showed up as a part of the Dimir Guild kit, and I'll bring it up here on screen right now if you happen to be watching.
Pretty sweet.
There's a copy token, and I thought that was really cool. This was for Stolen Identity, the card Stolen Identity, which has the amazing keyword of Cipher, which is awful. But it does make a token creature of something, and that token, it has the Dimir symbol, it has the blank box for power and toughness, it has the artwork in kind of a weird sort of separated element, and I thought it was really cool, just really unique.
Very neat. I remember when I was working at SCG and we were working on various book-related things, mostly Patrick Chapin's book projects, but Benny Smith had a book called The Complete Commander Guide or something along those lines, and along with that came a Mimic Vat token that was a copy token, and I haven't seen anything like that since then. And nothing Magic related had ever made a copy token. I'd never seen one.
Right.
And so I'm really pleased that they did this, because this copy token is super sweet and people have been asking for it for so long. You have things like Crackling Counterpart, Mimic Vat, and Stolen Identity and Spitting Image, all these cards that create this token. It's just like a great fit.
Great tips in the chat here. You could laminate it and use a dry erase marker to continue to change the name, change the power and toughness. That's really sweet.
Very smart.
Excuse me. Quasi-duplicate, of course, is just the new
Right.
Jumpstart one, which is really cool, which is sweet. And also they mentioned that, hey, I got to take back that Cypher's amazing, that it's better than Haunt. And I'm like, man, that bar is low, bruh.
Yeah.
Like, better than Haunt, huh? Okay. Sure.
I mean, it's close.
Now, this next topic is a little unfortunate, I guess is a way to put it, because this was the topic that Aaron really wanted to talk about. So we will politely step over this one for the time being, and hopefully she'll come back to us, because I know she had thoughts on all this stuff already, let alone all the stuff we're about to talk about. But I think this one in particular, she was like, hey, can we add this back to the thing? It wasn't on the thing to start with, so...
For the podcast, the issue that we're talking about is potentially muting Twitch chat.
Yes, potentially muting Magic Twitch chat as we go into the weekend of the Pro Tour, as was suggested by Jerry T. But if she can't get back to us by the end of the show, we might be able to, run back around and cover it. Moving here to Desperate Ravings. Oh boy. Dan Lanthier, who had literally requested a lifetime ban. Please ban me for life, because he savagely cheated. He has basically put a ugly light on any of his accomplishments that he may get, that he had already in terms of winning Grand Prix, and that he might get in the future in terms of if he's ever wanted to be in the Pro Tour or whatever. Those dreams are gone. That the dream is dead. You can't be as savage as he was and expect that type of accolade to come in the future. That said, it was revealed that he was banned for 3 years. So
that's a pretty standard number, right?
Pretty standard number for fairly savage behavior. That's more or less the max that you get before you get lifetime ban.
Okay.
So it was the book, quote unquote, that they threw at Burton Cheney. Burton Cheney also played in Grand Prix Atlanta and was live for day 2, as I understand it. Clearly didn't make top 8, or we would have heard about it. But the fact that, again, Burton Cheney was there, Dan Lanthier didn't get the lifetime ban. He even requested. And I can also understand how, if he had gotten that lifetime ban, we start to question precedent. We start to question, is this a automatic lifetime ban because Dan wanted it? Is it an automatic lifetime ban because this is Wizards policy? You know what I mean? Like, there's some shades of gray in there of it's not super clear that I do X, I get Y. And Wizards has never been clear on that.
Right. And the other thing for Dan is that, he appears to have made it. I think he's made it clear that he is going to self-exile. Obviously that could change. He could change his mind at any point, in 3 years' time. So who knows? But yeah, 3 years it's something. So I'll take it.
Absolutely. It kind of it fishtails or dovetails rather directly into our next topic, which is counterfeit cards and suspending someone as a result of using counterfeit cards. So Saffron Olive had spoken a little bit about a situation where someone had borrowed a deck, and that deck was a fake card. They didn't know about it. They get suspended for 3 months as a result of using that card. And I believe they were also DQ'd from the event, but I'm not 100% on that one. They
were disqualified from the event, yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. So they were DQ'd. They were later suspended for 3 months. And there's a conversation here with Daniel Fournier. He said, this specific situation is a kid getting banned for unknowingly borrowing a deck that had a fake Cavern of Souls in it and not being included in the investigation because his DCI account pointed to his old high school email. Oh my God, Aaron's back.
Hi.
Oh my God. You all right?
I am okay. I'm so sorry about that.
What happened?
It's not your fault. Is everything on fire?
Everything's good. Yeah, everything's good. Thank you.
Okay, good.
Wow. All right. Well, we skipped over the topic that you added specifically for this episode because we wanted to go back and talk about it. What we're talking about now is how it kind of dovetailed into this poor kid and his deck that had the Cavern of Souls. And now what do you do about people like that? We've gotten to the point where, and chat's going nuts, by the way, that you're back. we've gotten to the point where counterfeits are so prevalent. They are a legitimate issue in terms of legality, deck legality, and just the legality of the cards that you're playing against your opponent in real life.
Yeah, it's tricky. And we kind of talked about this a little bit in the pre-show. And if you had already talked about this, I do apologize for covering it again. But it also kind of brings up the issue of, context and what exactly are you supposed to be responsible for? I'm out of breath. I'm sorry.
You ran upstairs.
Literally ran upstairs, professional. I had an issue. I had a judge call the other day at Eternal Weekend where I had picked up a batch of Eclipse sleeves. And apparently there was an old batch when Eclipse first came out where some of the sleeves weren't the same color. They were a little bit of a faded hue. And so I had 2 sleeves in my deck that were not as green as the rest. And it led to a judge call, and they determined that there was no pattern there or anything, but I still had to change the sleeves, which I was happy to do. But, I could see some people saying, it's your responsibility, but it's like, well, who do you know that opens all 60 of their sleeves and then examines them under a light to make sure that they're just you? Likewise, who do you know that, when you borrow a deck? I borrowed a Black Lotus this weekend. I borrowed a Mock Sapphire this weekend. I didn't think to check them,
Right. And you do the bend test on the Lotus?
Right. It's just something that it's really terrifying because these are things that we just don't think to do. But I could see a certain, portion of the community saying, well, weren't you responsible? It's like, but no one does these things. And so it makes you really wonder, do we need to start? Should I be looking at cards? Because we borrow decks all the time. Most of the pros that you see on the Pro Tour don't own cards. And so it's just a little scary to think that you might get a deck from somebody. Kid didn't know. He truly didn't know that there was something in there. And that's just so wrong.
And I agree that there's a whole slippery, the slippery slope here of your friend lets you borrow a deck. Are you supposed to be like, well, hold on, open, look, light test, get your loop out. Really? Where's our line here?
Yeah.
Loop out. That's right.
I see. Ruben, you don't have to play the role of Aaron anymore. I'm back.
Yeah, in this particular case, I'm okay with a 3-month ban. If that's where we're at with this, just to be safe. I'd rather one person who is completely innocent get swept up in a 3-month ban.
Yeah.
If we are okay with that, because if we're catching people who are doing it knowingly with this same strategy, then I'm okay with it. But it still sucks. It's still not perfect. Yeah. So I wish there were a way to parse it. I wish that we could be 100%. I wish we could have a zone of truth where we ask the kid, did you do this on purpose? And the kid said, I had no idea. And then we go, case closed. We can, get rid of this suspension. But we can't. And so there's no way to know for sure. And so this is the safest way to handle it. And 3 months is not a slap on the wrist, but it's also not an insane punishment. I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Somebody in the chat, I think it was Dean Fogbank, he brought up a really great analogy, which I'd mentioned in the pre-show. It's a lot like the terms and conditions of your credit card, where it's like if you try to call your credit card company, they were like, well, it's in the fine print. It's like, nobody reads that. When you get a credit card and they send you all of those pamphlets, nobody reads that. And likewise, the things that, it feels like we're kind of being asked to do, nobody does these things. But do we need to start? I think that's the question. And that's kind of scary to think about.
Did you know that if you print out the terms and conditions from Instagram, it's about 25 feet long?
Really? Huh.
There was an art installation somewhere where they printed out all the terms and conditions for the popular social media sites. Instagram spread across the room.
Huh.
Wow.
Okay. Good to know.
Well, there you go. My gosh. Look, there are no good answers. Let's make that clear. It's ugly on either side. If you let somebody have a one-time, we're Magic players. We're going to push you to the absolute god-awful limit of what you will let me get away with because you said I could get away with it. That sucks. It's not necessarily me. It's not necessarily the people who are listening, but I assure you, if you give somebody the leeway, they're going to take the actual maximum. We are min-maxers. That's what competitive players do, is they get the max value out of the minimum amount. And if you say I can do it one time, somebody will just chock full. They'll have the whole deck be proxy, for God's sake, because they get the slap on the wrist, and then they'll be good from there on. But until then, they'll get to ride the back of these super cheap cards they got off of whoever, in an alley. But this is, I guess, a way to deal with it. Wizards can't be easy with it. Wizards can't go easy on this. They have to go hard on this. This is the core component of why people buy Magic cards from Wizards and not weird printers from across the globe.
Yeah, I mean, the flip side is, I mean, he's young. It's not that long. He can come back from this, but it's gonna sting a little bit.
Right. So let's loop back here. Let's go back to Gathering the Talents.
Loop, you say?
I'm not showing mine, Ruben. Don't ask.
Heyo. Well, look, Aaron, tell us a little bit about what Jerry Thompson posted about this past week and how you feel about it.
Yeah, so Jerry Thompson kind of turned his attention to the issue of Twitch chat, which is something that I've been pretty vocal about before, and women in the community have been particularly vocal about. And he did a 3-tweet thread about Twitch chat, and he says that the easiest thing WotC could do that would be a net positive for the community and Magic as a whole is to mute Twitch chats. And he says that while there are some benefits, the downsides are horrific, and the risk and reward is not there. And he goes on to say that Wizards is trying really, really hard to bring in these audiences. You're seeing them go to like major YouTube creators, and Arena is only getting bigger, and so you're bringing these new faces into the community, and then the first thing they see is people acting like baboons in Twitch chats, and kind of talking about the hypocrisy of it, where you're preaching inclusivity, but yet you're not really doing anything about a main source of opposition for that. And got some people talking about whether or not Twitch chat really does have any value to it, or if when a stream gets to be so big, can it even really be moderated? Is there really any discussion that can be had there? Is WotC doing enough, and how you would even go about that? And so it's something I'm really passionate about, and it was good to see people kind of talking about it throughout the week.
Yeah, it was great. It was just the idea that, and some people were just, I love this when people are just like, you know what? Just ignore it. You know what? Don't, that stuff, just whatever. It's like, and then someone said, I believe it was Cube April, I might have said, like, it's easy to say that when you're not the target.
I mean, I had a feature match this weekend, at Eternal Weekend, which I won, by the way.
Weird flex, but okay.
Weird
but
flex.
even I went back and watched like the tail end, but even I know that like, I know a lot of women specifically who will not go back, or even my friend Kendra. My friend Kendra had a feature match in Atlanta this weekend, and she was like, it was trash. Like, and women specifically, I know women who've refused feature matches because they know just what's going to happen and sort of the nerves that come along with that. And, my theory about Twitch has kind of evolved through the years, but I'm at the point now where I feel like Twitch is going to remain a problem until people realize that it's an essential service. I think people right now look at moderators as sort of a luxury, where it's like, well, if we have a mod, like, we'll go on. And it's like, no, girl, if you don't have mods, you don't go live. It's as simple as that. Like, you would never open the doors to an event without judges. You would never open an event without, vendors. Those are what you consider essential characters for an event. And I feel like moderators are sort of treated as this, well, if we have it kind of thing, and they need to be seen as essential staff. Like you would staff it like you would any event, and if you don't have the staff for that, then you just don't get to do the thing. And it's just obnoxious that we're still at this point where Twitch is still garbage, and it's like, why is this not being taken as seriously as it should be?
Yeah,
I mean, some of the existing moderators were kind of weirdly hinting at, like, they can't pay us for some reason that we're not able to disclose, which is whatever. But like, Wizards has lots of digital things, zeros and ones in a database that they could give you for your time that cost them actual zero money.
And not even just a matter of compensation, but just having rules. We kind of talked about what happened with the Jerry T thing, to bring it back to Jerry. You had sort of the volunteer mods that were moderating in their own way, as sort of the rules as they understood it. Mm-hmm. And then you had kind of the WotC admin, who's this sort of amorphous mod who was following their own path. And so it's more than compensation. It's just kind of getting moderators around the same page and following the same playbook, and being able to mod effectively when you're all doing the same thing. So there's a number of issues, but it's just frustrating that we're still here. It's like, how are we still talking about Twitch chat? How are we still, I just don't understand why there hasn't
I was at TwitchCon, and it was a common conversation all weekend from people, not just at the Wizards booth, but from everywhere I went, about, curating Twitch chat to make sure that your channel doesn't become a hive of scum and villainy, being sure that you have the mods, being sure that you ban enough people and suspend the right people.
You know what it reminds me of?
What?
It reminds me of Twitter. You know how everyone's like, can we please get rid of the complete garbage people on Twitter? Yeah. And he's like, 280 characters. That's what you guys were looking for. And we're like, no, we wanted you to get rid of the garbage. And he's like, get rid of that like button, y'all. And we're like, stop. Are you listening? Do you use this service? Like,
Yeah.
it just feels like the people who are making the decisions at Twitch don't actually stream. They don't actually either stream or participate enough to know, like, these are the realities that you have. It was an interesting way to look at it from Saffron Olive, from Seth, who said, that your Twitch chat is often very representative of your content that you're streaming.
I agree.
The type of feel that you're bringing to your stream is the type of feel that you're bound to get on your chat.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Channels,
Yeah, I definitely, like, when I first started streaming, it felt a lot like, and this is a poor analogy, so I do apologize, but it almost felt like your Twitch chat is sort of like cultivating a petri dish, where it's like, that's the group that you curate and that you cultivate, and we're really lucky. Look at our chat. We have some amazing mods. We have Lubu, we have Pharmacist Judge, we have people who help out, and I keep our Twitch chat open now. I would have never done that a year or two ago, and we kind of cracked down a little bit, and we have a great Twitch chat, and I think that's a result of the fact that we have mods and that we enforce that and we look at that, and I think that you can tell the communities that go that extra step because it's reflected in the community that we now have a great chat, and there are some people who aren't as diligent, and it shows in their chat box.
And Twitch chat is a great tool for you to be able to use, but the Magic the Gathering Pro Tour doesn't really use Twitch chat. So I don't see what the downside is of muting Twitch chat for Pro Tours.
Yeah, and then that brings up the argument of when a stream gets to be a certain size, is there really the same merit there? Like, I know, for example, there was a young man he's a League of Legends streamer, but he's been doing some kind of cross-play, some cross-gender play. Sparky, Shanky, something with an S, it's one word. But I remember he did a thing, and I remember I went to his stream, and he easily had like 20,000 people, and it was just trash. And I don't mean like the quality of the comments, sneaky, thank you. But it's literally just, you can't have a conversation with 20,000 people when it's nothing but, emojis and macros and nothing good is coming from that. And so I definitely think that once the stream reaches a certain point, there's like a critical mass of like, what were you getting out of this?
It's one of those where, and I think Chris RD19 mentioned that it's not necessarily when it's an event like that. It's Magic events can't have the individual stream feel. I get that. So what I'm saying in that regard is that Wizards kind of treats it like the Wild West. It just kind of happens. They hired some deputies. Those deputies don't have the exact training that the people who run the things have, but they're out there, they're trying to catch the bad guys. Who are exactly are the bad guys, they're not really sure. How they catch them, they're not really sure. This metaphor kind of went a little long, but you know what I'm saying.
Well, you caught yourself.
It was good though, I liked it.
Nice. Well, there you go. I mean, we kind of like, oh, this is really awkward.
Sub-only chat's a good idea. I like sub-only chat.
And
sub-only chat's not bad.
And that's what we did. I mean, at SCG Live, when I was at the Star City Games, and SCG Live was still a thing, and it wasn't the SCG Tour yet. I mean, we had awful chat. We turned chat off. We tried moderating. We tried sub chat. I think I left when we were in the middle of sub chat or whatever. Yeah. And nowadays, I think they just have a really strong mod team that they try to keep up and running. I don't know. That's just what I read.
Aaron's the one who's on the ground there.
Aaron is on the ground.
Actually a mod for any channels. So
right. Well, there you go. So
I will defer to her. Well,
fine. Look, there was a art show. Ruben, you got to attend the Gallery's 1988 art show.
Yeah. So there's a place on Melrose, super chic, super popular, way cooler than I'm ever going to be. And this place called Gallery 1988 was hosting an art show. About 50 pieces of art from non-Magic the Gathering artists who don't play, aren't particularly familiar with Magic the Gathering. Are we seeing them on the screen or?
I'm putting them. The link
I didn't know if you were doing that or not.
No, it's fine. Links in chat. I'm putting them on the screen here in a minute.
No worries. One of the artists, you'll see the first piece of art in my tweet chain is a Chandra, sort of like a Technicolor Chandra, done by a guy named Andrew Thompson, who was there. And actually had 50 limited edition playmats of that Chandra art made. And we're buying those as well, in addition to buying the regular art that was just hanging on the wall.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just a super fun night. Mark Purvis was down from Seattle. Gavin was down from Seattle. Some of the other Wizards folks were there, as well as the local LA Magic scene. Ashlyn Rose was there. Phil DeLuca from the Commanderin podcast.
And Ashlyn Rose, isn't she on that hot new D&D podcast?
She sure is. She sure is on that hot new D&D podcast.
The breaking, what's it called, Ruben? I don't.
Breaking Bad.
There we go.
Oh,
The Breaking Bad. But yeah, Ben Bateman from the.
Did you just seriously not promote your own show?
I'm gonna get there, Aaron. You're not gonna get me to promote my own show in the middle of talking about the news thing that we're talking.
Evan does.
No, I'm more professional.
He'll drop a cool stuff.
Wow.
Anything.
Wow. I don't know if y'all noticed that little burn there.
Are you gonna let me talk about the thing we're talking about or not?
Do the thing.
It's only we're only at midnight Eastern. We could go on a long discourse if we want to. But anyway, it was a really fun time. We got a limited edition poster of that awesome Nissa that was just on the screen as well. And yeah, it was just a really nice time and really fun to see those things. And everything there was for sale except for the uncut beta sheet and the uncut foil Ravnica sheet. So
nice. Well,
it was fun.
It is, and we'll contrast that here in just a second with Minneapolis, but I want to pick a winner because we're here and we want to get the other giveaway going. The winner is MTG Young Mage. Congratulations.
Yes.
Good job, Young Mage.
Rhino.
Nice job, Rhino. Don't spend it all. Well, actually, you have to spend it all in one place.
You actually have to, really. But congratulations to MTG Young Mage, a longtime supporter of the show. He has his own YouTube channel. You should check it out. That's good stuff.
We're literally watching him grow up. It's wild.
Yeah, we're making that stuff
You're
happen.
literally watching everyone grow up at all times.
I mean, some people not nearly fast enough, but
There. This is the oldest I've ever been. So.
That's fantastic. Well, look, our new giveaway is underway. Exclamation mark raffle. Get yourself in there. Let's win one of those 3 playmats. Which is really super cool.
Yeah.
Again, subscribers do get an extra bump in there. So you get 2 entries as subscribers. And we have awesome subscribers. Thank you guys so very much.
Yeah, and Rhino, send your information to Erin. I don't think she has you blocked yet.
I think, now I could be wrong, but I think the way it can work is, I believe the bot actually messages you or something.
Oh, cool.
There's a way that that the winner from last week was messaging, I think, the bot, and I could see it on here on the background admin thing. So if the bot messages you, send your email address, and I will see if I can make that work, because I think I can. And if I can, then that makes my life easier.
Back to our regularly scheduled news program.
Back to our regular schedule. Okay, so now we have this art show that was super cool. Wizards is tweeting about it. Wizards is sending people down. People from Wizards are showing up. There's all these community members hanging out. It's really cool. Man, they haven't done this at all this year, have they?
So the Minneapolians were pissed. Mike Linneman and them. So right around the time of GP Minneapolis, which was in August, I want to say. It was early August, I believe.
Something like that.
Was right around the time of the GP Minneapolis tied into the Pro Tour, which was also in Minneapolis, the 25th anniversary Pro Tour. And there was a studio in Minneapolis, I believe it was called Gray Light Labs. I want to make sure I'm not screwing
Gray Light.
I think it was Gray Light Labs or something.
Gray Light Art Lab.
There we go, Gray Light Art Labs, thank you. And they did a 25th anniversary tribute art show to Magic the Gathering, which was fabulous and which got a bit of attention. Mike Linneman was there just about all weekend hosting, cubes and commander games and things of that nature. And some of the Minnesotans were a little annoyed that, when their art show was going on, they didn't get nearly as much press for it or any press for it, given that, again, it was during not only a GP weekend, but a Pro Tour weekend, the 25th anniversary Pro Tour weekend. The theme of the art show was, again, 25th anniversary, but yet, you're going to throw your weight behind an LA art show when there's no event happening. And so there were a couple Minnesotans that were just a little sore about that on Twitter. And we're just like, if only someone had done something like this before. And so it would have been nice to see, everybody kind of get some love. But both shows were sweet. Ruben obviously was at this one and can attest to that. But I just saw a little bit of a kerfuffle from the Minnesota.
Is that what they call? Is this a proper usage of Minnesota nice?
Sure. I'm still trying to figure out what to call them. Minneapolians, Minnesotans.
I'm sure it's one of them, but all I know is that it's definitely weird to see Wizards going all in for the Japanese thing. The Japanese exhibit was amazing, legitimately amazing. They did a great job. They did its own promo card. I mean, he got everything. He got all the stuff. And this last one, which got lots of love, got people flying in, got people checking it out, yada yada. They're tweeting about it, they're talking about it. And then Minneapolis was just like crickets.
Right.
It's like, guys, we're doing work over here. We're trying to celebrate things. Help us. Help us celebrate. All right. So we only have time for a few more tiny things here. I wrote an article.
We got to do the draft, right?
We got to do the draft. So how about we go to the Pro Tour Guilds of Ravnica draft? We're going to do 2 drafts. First draft for players. Second draft for cards. I don't know exactly how they're going to score the cards, but I'll take it.
All right. We're using fantasypt.com, as is our tradition.
Yep, Fantasy PT is here. Turns out that Ruben has the first pick, Aaron has pick 2, and I snake around, pick 3 and 4.
All right.
Goes back to Aaron, goes back to Ruben.
So should I click on draft now?
Yes.
Okay. Oh my god.
All right, so we should...
And I'm choosing Pro Tour Guilds of Ravnica?
Yeah.
Okay.
You should see probably 2, because again, we're doing 1 for players, 1 for cards. But only one has officially begun, so that's probably the one that you saw.
Well, I'll take the current champion of the world, Javier Dominguez, with my first pick.
Okay, something's not. It's putting me in generic pools. It's not putting me in ours. What am I doing wrong?
You need to go to your leagues.
Oh, here we go. Okay, this is hard. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we're picking players.
Yes.
Okay, picking players. I
took the champ first.
Oh my goodness. So I'm going to pick a bit of an underdog here, but I do relate to him quite a bit. He's kind of I like him a lot. I'm going to go with Eric Froelich.
Nice.
Efro, yeah.
My
Nice.
former roommate. And,
yeah, absolutely.
And a friend of the show in chat.
Husband of Athena.
Absolutely.
You know how they do in the tabloids? You know, they've been flipping it lately with Amal Clooney, where they say George Clooney's Amal's husband. You know.
Right.
Very nice, very nice. Well, look, they have here an ELO ranking for all of these pros, which is really interesting. And the highest ELO at 2192 is Andre Strotsky.
Other than Javier Dominguez, who's the current world champion.
The ones that I can see, I can't see your choices because they're already gone. So I'm sure Javier's is insane. But he apparently is number 2. So I'm gonna go ahead and take Andre Strotsky as my first pick.
Great.
But then we're going to go ahead and bring it back here to the point total. And I've chosen this player in the past, and Ken Yukihiro is a man that can deliver on a lot of promises. So that is my second pick. Aaron, is back to you.
So I'm going to pick probably the best dressed person at the last Pro Tour. He put up a really great showing. He looked great. They also gave him an interview, which he killed. He delivered so much personality. He really has kind of entered his suit and tie or his grown and sexy phase. I'm going to go with Shahar Shenhar.
Nice.
Nice.
What
you got? You got 2 picks?
What?
You got 2 picks?
I do, and I'm going to pick the brothers Baumeister. I'm going to pick Corey Baumeister and Brad Nelson as my picks.
Okay, then. Well, maybe they broke it. You never know. I mean,
They're
at this
both quite
point,
powerful magicians.
at this point, Corey, I believe, I'm not sure where he is exactly in Roanoke, but they are filming versus videos together.
Nice.
And that's been really interesting to watch as well. Aaron, what you got?
Oh God, so many good choices. Like just when I think, you know, I'm just going through this thing, and I just when I think I've got one, another page comes up. So now I got a rep from my friends. I have a couple friends who are qualified for this Pro Tour and who've been working very hard. Specifically, I have 2 amazing friends who've been testing in Roanoke for the Pro Tour, I believe, or testing near Atlanta. But they've been testing in a basement. Lots of bugs, very cold. I'm going to go with my friend, English national champion and streaming superstar Autumn Burkett.
Nice. Well, there you go. Well, as usual, I go, wow, you guys really haven't chosen Seth Manfield? I guess I'll pick Seth Manfield.
Yeah.
Because that's a person that's available.
Do it for the tummy shuffle. Do it for the tummy shuffle.
Very nice. Yeah, Seth is an amazing player. And because I don't do it to do the daggers, I don't do it for dagger reasons. I do it because he's an amazing player, and I have to take Bay before anyone else. Reed Duke is my second choice.
That's cool.
You had your opportunity. You had 2 separate opportunities.
Listen, okay? He knows who peppers his ragu. Let's just leave it at that.
Is that an established? Have you decided that that's a
Who
is that a
cilantros?
thing that we say? That's a thing? I haven't
Go to
seen that
guy.
one on Urban Dictionary before. So
Okay.
Very nice. Well, what is your next pick?
I have to go. I have one more friend. I could have stopped right there. I have one more friend who's qualified for this Pro Tour, who's been working very hard with Autumn to practice for this Pro Tour. She's a very good friend of mine. She's sort of the goddess of Jund in Modern. She's my very good friend, Jadine Clomperens. I'm going to go ahead and draft Jadine here, also known as #Jundine. A big fan of Jade's, and very happy to see her back on the Pro Tour.
That's awesome. Ruben, what's your next two choices?
well, I think that you can do worse than have back-to-back John Finkel and Luis Scott Vargas, two of maybe the 2 or 3 best Magic players of all time. So that's what I'm going to do.
Nice. All right, then. Those are awesome choices. It's back to you, Aaron.
Oh, geez. So, I'm going to pick a young man who has, really come a long way. He's had some very big moves in his personal life recently. He's now a happily married man. I'm a big believer in that, when your life is going well and when you're happy, it reflects in your work. And so I'm really anxious to see what he's going to do with all this happiness floating around him. I'm going to go with PV. I'm going to go ahead and pick PV here, newly married PV.
Very nice. Well, look, I have only 2 choices to go.
Oh, my goodness.
And I guess if I'm going to take one of the Player of the Year contenders, I might as well take the other one. Luis Salvato, get on my roster. We're going to do this. And you know what? Even if he may not, how do I put this? I love it when this player does very well. I really do. And so I'm excited. And if nothing else, just to show support for all the things he's done lately, Jerry Thompson's going to be my last choice.
Okay.
All right.
So my last one is going to be a bit of a long shot. We've joked about his name before, that it's one of the names that Evan can pronounce, even when he can't pronounce anything else. Anytime that standard is good, when control is good, he has been known to come out of the woodwork, and control is actually quite good right now in standard. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up Guillaume Matillon. And see if he can make it happen.
Guillaume
Matillon.
2 Southern for everything but the Matignons.
Guillaume Matignon.
What? Ruben, what you got?
It's been a minute since we've heard from this player, but it's Ravnica. Mana bases are greedy. Control decks can break out on any given weekend. And I want to see what Guillaume Waffle Tapa can do. So
Yes.
I'll take Waffle Tacos as my last one.
Yes.
Oh, man, our draft is over officially. My team is Luis Salvato, Seth Manfield, Jerry Thompson, Reed Duke, Ken Yukihiro, and Andre Strosky. Ruben, who you got?
Javier Dominguez, Corey Baumeister, Brad Nelson, John Finkel, LSV, and GWT, Guillaume Waffle Tapa.
Very nice. Aaron?
I have Guillaume Matillon, Paula Vitor Damo de Rosa, Jadine Clomperens, Autumn Burkett, Shahar Shenhar, and Eric Froelich.
And Aaron, you need to check your email, as you have not confirmed the second.
Oh my God, this is so difficult.
I know.
Okay, hold on.
It's the worst. I had them resend the invite, so you should see another one there.
Oh my God, this is more
We're
emails
doing
than like
the
Banana Republic
cards
sends me.
draft now, right?
Say what now?
We're drafting cards.
That's correct.
Congrats, you finished your fantasy draft.
Not the finished one, because we're
That's
starting.
I
this
literally
one.
got like 4 emails.
I understand. Look for the most recent one.
A minute ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anything. It just says to make your picks.
Right, and that's what. Well, we're trying to start the draft, but there are unconfirmed users. So if you can't figure this one out soon, we're just going to have to skip over the card drafting.
Okay, I'm not figuring out.
Move on. Okay.
I see lots of invite emails, but nothing about a confirmation of any kind.
No, that's the invite is the email you're looking for. You're looking for an invitation to a Pro Tour Guild's Ravnica.
From Commissioner.
It will look very similar, because the only difference is between picking cards.
Okay, if whoever's designing this website, if you're watching this, this is your comment card. Fix this. Okay, so I think I just accepted something.
Okay, let's see if you accepted it the right way. All right, we all held our mouth the right way. That's great. All right, cool. All right, we're starting now. Cool. All right, so Aaron, you are picking first.
Now it sent me back to the main
cards.
This is for cards. I
It's
have it.
not-
I have it up and running. You should be able to likely use that link, as I have sent you guys over.
Another email.
No, we're good. We're starting.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is available cards. Okay, sweet. Okay, so I am going to pick this one just to be spiteful because my friend Nick Prince has developed a bit of a fascination with this card where he likes to say that only friends don't let friends use this card. And I enjoy nothing more than being petty. So my first pick is going to be Seeker Squire.
Nice.
Suck it, Prince.
Good one.
Wow. Well, it's really tough to see where do you want to start, but I feel like I really, really want to start with Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. That is my first choice. Ruben, now you get 2 in a row.
Well, I think that the Golgari aggro and Golgari mid-range decks are my favorite decks right now. I think that they have the best chance. So I definitely like the Seeker Squire pick, but since I have the wheel, I'm going to start out with Llanowar Elves.
Okay.
That's gonna be what I go with first, assuming it lets me pick it. Come on. Why can't I pick it?
Why can't you pick it?
Well, I'm gonna pick Llanowar Elves somehow, some way.
For those who, once it's your turn, you should be able to then see the little plus buttons.
Yeah. I've hit the plus button and it's not letting me
refresh.
Yeah, let me refresh it.
Once you draft your team, these cards are going to earn 1 point for us for every copy in the top 8.
All right, so I'm gonna pick Llanowar Elves first.
Okay.
And then I want that Merfolk Branchwalker second.
Heyo. All right, that's cool. Well, that means it comes right back to me, and I can't not pick what they describe as the number 1 at this point, which is Jade Light Ranger.
Yeah,
just too good. Just too good.
So I am going to pick a card that chat's been kind of buzzing about and has been a bit of a surprise for me. You know, I know we kind of talked about it in the set review, and I wasn't terribly impressed with it. It seemed like a lot of work, but it's recently become a modern all-star. It's become a standard all-star. MTG Goldfish has been putting it in what they call standard dredge. And even though it's nowhere close to dredge, if you put, dredge on it, my ears go up like Scooby-Doo, and so I'm totally listening. My next pick is going to be Arc-Light Phoenix.
Very nice.
I get 2. Oh, my goodness.
Because you're on the wheel.
So this is another one that chat just recently mentioned and was gracious enough to remind me of. This is a card that we were really, really high on going into this weekend. I'm not finding it in here. This is awkward. Where is it?
You can search, right?
Yeah, I am. It's not coming up.
Are you sure you're spelling it the right way?
Molder Hulk. There's only so many ways to spell it.
Molder. Oh, it's so bad they don't give you the option. Sorry.
Oh, there you go. There's that.
Sorry.
So I have to pick another. Are you serious?
Yes.
Yep, that is correct.
This website is trash. Okay, I'll pick another one. All right.
Hear that? FantasyProTour.com. Get Molder Hulk on the list.
All right, so I'm going to choose another card that has been a bit of a surprise to some people. I know that we covered this, and I think we had explicitly said, Sphinx's Revelation, this is not. But I know several people who've been kind of putzing around with Jeskai in Standard and who basically determined that if you're going to be playing any sort of control in Standard and in any sort of, Izzet or Jeskai shell, you really need to have this card. I'm going to choose Expansion Explosion.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. That's a great card, by the way. If you haven't had a chance to play with that, that thing is terrific.
Yeah.
Copying of Vraska's Contempt feels amazing. Punting a bunch of mana into it and drawing a bunch of cards and killing something feels great. But for my third pick, I love this card. I think that if Niv Mizzet is not going to have a monster showing at the Pro Tour, I am very confident that Thief of Sanity will. This card is not fair. It is ridiculous. You have to kill it. You absolutely have to kill that card. You cannot let it hit you. You start drawing extra cards. You start drawing extra cards from their deck. You start milling them out. I mean, in limited, that matters. I mean, like, this card does everything, and Thief of Sanity is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Officially chosen.
Well, if the Golgari aggro decks aren't going to be the best deck, I certainly think that the mono red decks are going to be the best deck. And the last Pro Tour was dominated by Goblin Chain Whirler, so why the heck wouldn't this one? So I'm going to pick Goblin Chain Whirler, and then I'm also going to pick its partner in crime, Runaway Steamkin.
Nice.
So
Well,
those are
there you
going to
go.
be my picks there.
Cool. Well, look, I'm going to piggyback a little bit on that one because while they may or may not run Chain Whirler, and while they may or may not run Steamkin, they're definitely going to run Lightning Strike.
Sure.
So that's my choice for number 4. Aaron?
So my next choice is going to be a card that I putzed around a little bit with in Standard, and GP Milwaukee is coming up next weekend. Not this weekend, but the following weekend. And I actually considered playing in the main. I haven't played in the Standard main event in I don't remember how long, but this deck really made me want to play Standard. I don't know if it's still viable, but to me, it seems like something that really just needs some good minds behind it to really, really kind of bust it open. My next pick is going to be Gruesome Menagerie.
Ooh, that card's really fun.
Yeah.
All right, you get one more. You're on the wheel.
So this next one is a card that I actually saw in Vintage the other day when I was playing at Eternal Weekend. This is a card that during the preview show, I think a lot of people, just during spoiler season in general, I think a lot of people agreed that there was something there. Like the card was so weird and it had so much text on it, and people were like, there's something. We don't know what, but something. And people have figured out what that something is. This is now a card and a very important piece of the mono red decks. This is a card that is seeing Vintage play. I played against a deck with Paradoxical Oath that ramped into this card and just did ridiculous things. I'm going to choose Experimental Frenzy.
Nice.
Yeah.
That
Card's
sounds like
great.
fun.
Card is dumb.
That's awesome. Well, look, I think one of the ways to kind of game this the right way is to think that all these cards could certainly see play. But you want to get the ones that require like the play set. You know what I mean? You're either playing 0 of this card or you're playing 4 of this card.
Right.
And I have a few choices from that, but the one I am most confident in and I will choose 5th is History of Benalia. You
Sure.
either play 0 or you play 4. There is no in between when it comes to History of Benalia.
Yeah, it's tough to pick anything that is like, because the aggro decks are the ones that are most likely to play 4-ofs, right?
Sure.
So the control decks you're going to see, because I'm pretty sure we'll see copies of Banefire and we'll see copies of Search for Azcanta. It's tougher to pick control cards though, because you expect to see fewer copies of them even in the decks that you are expecting them in. So I'm going to go off the rails a little bit. I'm going to pick a couple of weirdos. If green, black, and mono red aren't going to be super popular, which I can't imagine they won't be, I definitely think an aggro deck is going to be up there somewhere. I definitely think that aggro is in a good place right now, and I really like the mono blue aggro deck quite a bit. So my next pick is going to be Tempest Djinn.
Okay. That plays 4.
Yep, and then I have one more pick, and another one that is sort of a. I mean, it's not going to be. It's tough for me to want White Weenie to be super popular, but you know what? There are some White Weenie decks around that are quite good, and all of those decks, the super white aggro decks, the Craig Wesco decks, they're all running Benelish Marshall. So I'll take Benelish Marshall as my last one.
Wow. Well, look, I'm going to do you one better. Because they're playing Benelish Marshall, but this was the card that stuck out to me, and I've seen this in all of the Magic Online results. I've seen it in the most recent Magic Online decks that they posted, and this is a card that I also highlighted in my most recent article, where I was like, "Whoa! I thought this card went in that deck, but it really also goes in this deck." Because not only does Venerated Loxodon go in the green-white, Convoke thing, it just goes in mono-white aggro, mono-white White Weenie. Craig Wesco-esque. They are absolutely, they only play 4 of this card. There's never a 3 of or 2 of. There is a 4 of Venerated Loxodon, and that is my final choice.
Cool.
Aaron, you close us out with your final pick.
Well, I wanted to pick my final pick, but my other pick is not in here either. Where is Lich's Mastery? Like, what is going on here? Like, this site is just, I'm stressed.
Is Gift of Paradise available?
Gift of Paradise.
Gift of Paradise isn't available.
I have no idea, but I'm going to choose a card. Thank you to chat for inspiring me with all these suggestions. This is a card that brought me a lot of joy. I was somebody who played a lot of Approach of the Second Sun when it was standard legal. I'm very sad to see that deck go away, but there are some pieces that have found homes in other deck, and this is a card that has filled me with a lot of joy. I have a very difficult time casting it with a straight face because it's just so fun when people walk into it. I'm going to go ahead and choose Settle the Wreckage.
Nice.
Nothing's better than playing that poker face of like someone's just going all in and like, oh yeah, bro, you get that attack, and then they turn it and you're like,
Wow. Well, My team for the cards this round is Venerated Loxodon, History of Benalia, Lightning Strike, Thief of Sanity, Jade Light Ranger, and Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. Ruben, what you got?
I've got a team of 6 creatures. I've got Llanowar Elves, Merfolk Branchwalker, and Runaway Steamkin, and then I've got the Pip 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 Cheerio team of Goblin Chain Whirler, Tempest Djinn, and Benelish Marshall.
Wow.
So I have a mix of fair thing, mostly broken things, and then like one fair thing. So I have Settle the Wreckage, Experimental Frenzy, Gruesome Menagerie, Expansion Explosion, Arclight Phoenix, and Seeker Squire.
Awesome. All right, well, let's go ahead and choose a winner for one of your 3 playmats.
Yes.
Congratulations to Myth X Echo.
Yay! I know them. I got to meet them at Gen Con. They have a great beard and give a nice strong handshake. So congratulations.
There we go.
Oh, that's great. Well,
And they're in chat.
Yeah.
That's terrific. So, again, I think the Streamlabs user can like contact you and get that information.
They're also on the Discord. They're pretty frequent on this. See, look at them. They're all like, oh my God.
What? That's terrific. Well, congratulations. Thanks for playing along. We certainly appreciate it. But that said, and I am very happy to say that we have had no issues this cast.
Well,
Other
other
than my
than the apartment burning down.
Other when we had to leave, that's a thing. But you came back and
I
everything's
did.
fine.
Yeah. No, apartment's in good shape.
I think that this means that you need to appease the mono red fire gods and hang that mountain up, Aaron.
That's what they
you
were saying.
bumped your head. I don't think
That's what
so.
that means. I don't make the rules. All I know. That's all I know.
All right. Well, before we turn the corner here, we want to thank all of our supporters for this week. Let's see here. New Life Dante resubscribed for 3 months.
Thank you.
Neto360 subscribed. We appreciate it. Chris RD19, we talked about earlier, resubscribed for 3 months, which is awesome. Let's see here. Crimson Anima resubscribed for 3 months. Thank you very much. Sorvian, Survival Guides, Blazing _ Discipline resubscribed for 6 months.
Wow.
Mr.
Thank you.
Lubufu, 6 months. Thank you, Mr. Lubufu. You're great. Myth X Echo resubscribed for 2 months. That's
There you go.
awesome. Hey, it
Good
pays.
assessment.
Pays to subscribe. JBA734 resub for 2 months. Thanks much. Death by Fire 2008 subscribed. And that leaves all of the bits left if
That's
Ruben
right.
wants to
I
run
want to
through.
thank Smill Cows for being our top bitsman this time around with a 250 bit donation. Thank you so much. Mark Mesa, Orcish Veteran, TS Saliok, and Captain Harlock as well for their gifting of bits.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and there's a few more small bits here I notice here. Thundervorce _1 gave us 10. Dial Rules gave us a few, along with Morkroth that you mentioned earlier. So that's awesome.
We just
Again,
got a sub
Thank
from
you.
Vaz Sun as well.
Thank you.
thank you guys so very much. And yes, we get to turn the corner to the finisher. Game director of Magic Arena, Chris Clay, Chris Clay announced today that direct challenges are coming to Arena on November 15th. That means you'll be able to challenge people directly, which means actual factual friends lists are soon to follow. Now, I'm a fan of social mediums as much as the next guy, but I need another list of suggested friends like I need another LinkedIn request. But it's coming. So in addition to having people like, tweet, favorite, share, and subscribe, now we'll add Arena friends to the list. But how else can Magic add more to the gathering, Ruben?
Well, I'm a big fan of Commander, and in particular, the 2016 edition that introduced the partner mechanic. So I'm looking forward to Arena adding that as well, because all I want is to find a Kyranos to my Tiro.
Aww.
Aww, such feels. Aaron?
Well, Innistrad is great, and while Partner is good, Soul Bond is way better. So I'm excited for multiplayer to come to Arena because Two-Headed Giant is better than one.
Very nice. Well, look, Partner and Soul Bond are cute, but I want a more personal touch. I want a closer relationship.
You've had enough.
Hashtag 5kids. And I also want to go back to Kamigawa. I can't wait for them to do that. I am literally positive they're going to one of these days. So, for my money, I want to have the option of Magic Arena to introduce Splice onto Friendship.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
I came here for the laughs, and you gave us the feels. What happened? Why did...
Well, look, that ends another live episode of Magic Mics. Thank you for joining us here to discuss all things Magic. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you for having me, and thank you to our amazing, amazing listeners for tuning in every week and putting up with us.
You guys are great. Thank you, Ruben.
Thank you. This episode was literally fire.
Move here to our final slide.
I want to thank bubble right here. Everything is fine.
I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsor, CardHoarder.com, my co-hosts, Aaron Campbell and Ruben Bressler. You guys for watching or listening, and I hope you support us at Patreon.com/MagicMikes. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe, do everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord, twitch.tv @MagicMikes, on Twitter @MagicMikesCast, our Magic Mike subreddit, and like the Magic Mikes page on Facebook. Talk to us privately at MagicMikesPodcast@gmail.com. Follow the audio-only podcast at MagicMikesPodcast.libsyn.com, or find us on iTunes, or join us here next week. Same time, same place, for another episode of Magic Mikes. Good night, everybody.